Hey everyone, this is another week of Find Your Film. We're back for the week of Friday, April 29th, 2022. We have two big movies to cover this week. One of them is probably, I think, one of the best movies ever from Liam Neeson. It's a movie called Memory. I don't know if I'm forgetting how awesome it is, or is it maybe not a good movie? We'll see. And there's another movie that Bruce Perky wanted us to watch. Bruce Perky, what is the movie that you wanted all three of us to watch this week?
Hatching.
Hatching. What?
The story of I'm trying to Big Bird. Yes, the story of Big
The
Bird.
story of
Hatching.
the story of Big Bird. What made you want? Was the actual image of the title card, or the way the movie looked, the poster? What drew you to Hatching? Is it just word of mouth, or what?
It was Scandinavian. It looked odd. There was a little girl with a giant egg. I thought, okay, well, might be worth a check out.
Might be worth to check out. Speaking of checking out, Bruce Berkey and Eric Holmes also checked out, I guess, one of the big movies from last weekend, The Northman, and both of them will have reviews of that movie as well. There were a whole bunch of other movies they wanted to cover, but me being the complete party pooper, I said, oh, I didn't see this movie yet. Can you guys wait? There's a couple of movies that we're going to be holding off till next week as far as to cover. There's a movie about a citizen who's under suspicion, or whatever that movie is, that I'm kind of really excited about. Eric Holmes, this is a movie that you dropped on our Bruce and my lap months ago. What was this movie that you've been talking about and being excited about, and we're going to talk about next week?
Oh, geez, that's a long title. An investigation of a citizen above suspicion. It's on. I saw it on Criterion, and it's a really good movie. I found out about that movie because of Phantomos. They have the album director's cut, and each track is a theme song from an older movie. And that was one of them. So that's what caught my eye on it. And then I finally watched it and I was like, ooh, that's a good one. In fact, that's how I found out about Experiment in Terror, another banger. And I think at one point I proposed that we just go through all the movies that they did on Phantomos director's cut and just cover all of them. And maybe we will eventually through time, but so far all of them that Phantomos covers. Obviously, there's Spider Baby, Godfather, ones that I've seen already, but then the ones that I haven't seen, I go back for, and they always end up being good. So, yeah, Phantomos seems to have pretty good taste in movies, I think.
I've heard the name Experiment in Terror. Bruce Perky, have you ever seen that movie? It seems like a movie that you would see just based on the moniker.
I don't think so, but it might be one of those movies I saw a long time ago and I don't remember what the name was. And if I watch it, I'll be like, wait, have I seen this movie? You ever had that experience? It's like,
yeah.
Oh, wait.
I get that experience quite often.
I hate that. I was watching some video today and they were talking about a movie that we saw earlier this month. And I was like, oh, yeah, we saw that movie where they were all at that party and then it all got really weird. And oh, yeah, we watched that movie. Yeah.
All my friends hate me. I remember, Bruce. Do you remember, Eric? All my friends hate me. Or do you side with Bruce? You kind of don't remember that movie.
I remember the title. I'm trying to think of which one that is.
Yes,
but yeah, that's actually a really good example. I think my brother more than a few times have been like, hey, remember blah blah movie? I'm like, I haven't seen that. And like, dude, we watched it like last week. I'm like, oh.
One thing you're not going to forget, Eric Holmes, is the last several days you've been, I guess in a weird way, hard at work at actually regarding some of our merch. You've been doing some exploratory measures. Can you tell our listeners and viewers, etc., what you've been doing the last several days?
Well, we have such a beautiful logo created by Juan Diego Escobar Alzate,
the director of Lose the Flower of Evil, right?
Oh, damn.
So yeah, it's a little bit of that.
I believe at one point we covered it on cinematics, or maybe not, but either way. Bruce, what shirt are you wearing?
And at one point he was in Los Angeles with X, I guess. I don't know.
There we go. But anyway, I was playing around because I think our logo is fucking sweet. And I always wanted like a hoodie or a shirt or do something with that. And then I was playing around. It was like, because being in bands, like my recollection of getting merch is buying like 100 or 1,000 of something and then just crossing my fingers hoping that we can unload them all. And then we never do. But I found a website that you can create t-shirts and hoodies and whatnot. And so I put our logo on it and ordered one. And I got this guy in here.
Okay.
Hoodie right here for those who can see. It's got the really big logo on the back, the horror one.
Right.
And then the black and white one up front.
Oh, nice.
It's a pretty nice hoodie. So I'm going to kind of put it through the ringer, see how it works. And if there's any interest, all I have to do is go click it on public, and if anyone wants to get one, they can. I don't know why I wouldn't do it, because we don't have to, we don't have to buy 100 shirts. We just kind of put it out, and if someone wants one, they can get one.
Well, guys, let's brainstorm. What other merch, Find Your Film merch items, Bruce, what do you think should we do down the road? What should Eric work on? Because he's the mastermind of this whole shenanigans.
Let me think about it as the episode goes on, and I'll throw out some merch ideas. I'm sure I can come up with something. I don't think we're going to go the ghost route, though, or the... what's the name of the band that did... what's the German band that always has fire coming off their heads? What's that? Those guys.
Rammstein?
Yeah, I don't want to... I think we're going to do Rammstein's routine. I think they did a merch that was very special, where all of the members were sellable. But we're not going to do that.
Actually, one of the ideas I had, and anyone listening, I'm open to any ideas anyone else has, or if you want to steal some of these ideas, go for it, because I think they're good ideas. But like, I threw out a prototype idea of yours with the Find Your Film logo, and that says "I made a 6.9 star movie." Mm-hmm. So the idea is that like so like The Long Walk would be one of those. What was the last? That was Petite Maman would be one of those. Where like if all three of us give a 5-star to a movie, then we offer the filmmaker I made a 6.9 star movie, and maybe make a exclusive limited edition thing. So any of the money that goes towards that, maybe we hit up the filmmaker and go, hey, your shirt made this much money in this amount of time. We're going to close it up. What crowdfunding campaign do you want us to donate this to, or to do something fun like that? I think there's a bunch of really cool ideas we could do with that.
Yeah, I'm boring. I wouldn't mind just a black t-shirt with the black and white Find Your Film logo. That's the one that I would really
I'm cool with that too.
Very simple, and what we can make it elaborate, crowdsourcing and all that stuff, crowdfunding. Yeah. I'm sure Bruce down the line has some really interesting ideas as well. So who knows? We
can make a t-shirt of Pete dropping the beat.
Pete dropping
I don't know what that would look like.
Maybe Peter Beta from Middle Class Film Class's drum beats. We can do that. We can do a lot of different things. Yes.
But so the website I went to play around with this is teespring.com. So, Pete, Andrew, anyone listening with the Force 5 podcasts, any one of you guys, if you want to make a merch, just go on teespring.com. It's super easy to fuck around with. And then you decide, God knows I would buy an Andrew Watches Movie t-shirt in like 3 seconds flat. So just kind of throwing that out there.
Yeah. These are all good podcasts, and it's time. I mean, we, like you said, you're wearing the Cinematics merch. I'm not very good with merch, but I'm glad one of us is taking the initiative. And who knows, down the line, maybe we'll have a merch line for Find Your Film and again, it's been 2 years in the making, and I've been dragging my feet on this, but I actually have a sort of a website that has been dormant since 2015. It's called Find Your Scene. Don't ask why I spelled it a really weird way, but I think this is going to be a great place for us to house a lot of our movie archival stuff that we're trying to do, that we've been doing for Find Your Film as well. So who knows what will happen with that website. I will leave links to that, and Eric down the line will leave links to the Teespring site where people can purchase merch. Who knows? Okay, so that sounds really interesting as far as Find Your Film goes. Bruce, anything else you want to add regarding before we get to our two big movies, just right off the top of your head?
No, the only thing I could think of was we need album covers like the solo albums from Kiss that later were done by the Melvins, and then we need to do our own versions of those. 4-star Greg could be one, and I could see some possibility there.
4-star Greg. Yeah, maybe that'd be really cool. Hopefully, I'll remember all of these things that you've said, Eric, and you said, Bruce, because right now we're covering a movie called Memory. Let's just be very straight about this movie. Very simple plot. Liam Neeson, he's on a mission. What happens when Liam Neeson is on a mission, Eric Holmes? Bruce,
and he kills people.
Kills people. Bruce, is there usually a big lineup of corpses whenever Liam Neeson goes on a mission? What do you think?
Maybe. I mean, I was surprised by the lineup of pigeons. There's lots of pigeons in this movie. I know that much.
It's directed by John Woo. Anyways, the movie is called Memory, and Liam Neeson, he plays a hitman, an assassin. Usually an assassin or a hitman, they're usually bad people. And yes, Liam Neeson in this movie, he's bad. He kills people for money, contract for hire. The catch is he doesn't want to do. He wants to retire. But the problem is this organization he works for, they want him to do the job. But with all his evilness, this character, he will not kill children. He'll kill everyone else, but he won't kill kids. You cross the line as far as this character in Memory. And that's the premise of the movie. When he decides not to cross the line, and it seems like the even worse people are after him, and along the line, this character, this hitman, tries to uncover a big conspiracy regarding immigration and being a pedophile and prostitution and drug, and just a lot of, it's like sort of Mexico, El Paso, crossing the border, a lot of different stuff. It's a Liam Neeson film. It's directed by Martin Campbell, who's a very interesting filmmaker. Love his Zorro films, and he's a very muscular director. You know what? I even kind of dug his Green Lantern. I'm a Martin Campbell enthusiast. I'll tell you my thoughts on Memory in a second. First, Bruce, let's start off with you regarding this movie, Memory, which hits theaters on April 29th.
This isn't my kind of movie. It's one of those movies where you see everybody that's in it, and it's like you remember that they did make good movies at one point, but now they're making this movie. And this is just like a tropey TV action movie kind of. You've got a self-surgery scene. You've got some John Woo pigeons. I don't know why they're not doves, but they're pigeons. It's a simple plot that still somehow manages to be confusing. I found myself wondering, like, who's doing what and why is this vaguely QAnon related? Like, there's just like, it's all a mismatch of mixed pot of right-wing tropes and action tropes and actors you've seen before in better things and mediocre action. And it's just, yeah, a big pile of nothing. Very forgetful.
A big pile of nothing, says Bruce Perky regarding Memory. Was this nothing to you, Eric Holmes, or was it actually something?
Oh, it wasn't nothing. I kind of liked it. I mean, as far as the Liam Neeson action vehicles go, I think this is probably one of the better ones. I wouldn't say it's as good as like Taken, which I think is, we kind of hit it out of the park with Taken. It's been diminishing returns ever since. This doesn't get quite at Taken level, but of all those, this is probably one of the better ones. Yeah, you got Guy Pearce doing Guy Pearce stuff.
Yeah, Guy Pearce, an FBI agent.
Yeah.
He's an FBI agent, Guy Pearce, and he's trying to actually uncover what's going on. This FBI agent has his own backstory. Like Bruce said, there's just so many different stories in Memory, and it just seems like a hodgepodge of different layers of
brought in his greasy hair from the Proposition movie, so that was pretty cool.
Very good. There's also Monica Bellucci, who is just this big-wig corporate businesswoman, entrepreneur, and she's just rich beyond belief. She may have a ne'er-do-well son who's a little bit corrupt. There's so many different characters. There's a young Mexican teen who's in trouble because she's witness to some kind of murder, but then she also has a definite backstory and might be a primary witness in a case. There's a lot of different things going on in Memory. And so, Eric, it actually clicked for you. Would you recommend this movie?
It's weird because this movie's coming out in theaters. And so if this came out straight to DVD, I'd be like, holy shit, this is awesome, straight to DVD movie. Since it's a theater movie, it's still pretty good, I think, for what it is. But you got movies like The Northman out. You got movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once out there. But I don't know. It's kind of like if you like the Liam Neeson action movies, this will be your cup of tea. If you're bored of the Liam Neeson action movies, this probably isn't going to pull you back into the fold.
Well, let me mention
I guess that's where I think I'm at with it.
Martin.
But personally, I enjoyed watching it.
You enjoyed watching it. I mentioned Martin Campbell, just a couple of his movies. The Legend of Zorro, Casino Royale, Green Lantern, I mentioned that. Edge of Darkness, starring Mel Gibson, a movie that I absolutely love. I can watch that over and over again.
I think this movie would probably be around Edge of Darkness. If you like the Edge of Darkness, this might be kind of in your wheelhouse.
He also directed the Jackie Chan film, Jackie Chan Pierce Brosnan film from 2017 called The Foreigner. I am a Martin Campbell fan. I agree with Bruce that this movie is flawed. I liked it more than Bruce. There are just so many different elements that ultimately a lot of this stuff doesn't add up. It's almost 2 hours. It could have been a clean 90 minutes, 95 minutes.
It actually was, Greg. Your memory
my memory is, I need to jog my memory. There's a lot of different things. They're just
Bruce like, never again with that joke.
I think, again, this is a remake of the 2003 Belgian film The Memory of a Killer. I'm a Liam Neeson fan. I like Martin Campbell films. This is a flawed film. I would recommend this for people who like Martin Campbell movies, Liam Neeson movies, which I am one of. Also, the little parts of the movie, meaning the actors. I liked seeing Monica Bellucci again. I liked Ray Stevenson as one of the as a detective. Always good to see Ray Stevenson. Just some really good actors in this film that I liked. There's a guy named Harold Torres. He was the Mexican cop in this movie. He has a pretty big role, and I liked him in that miniseries 000, which starred Andrea Riseborough. So ultimately, for me, the parts were bigger than the whole. The whole itself was a mixed bag. I would still recommend this movie, but I would give it a mild recommendation. I would give Memory 3 stars. What about you, Bruce?
I would say if you're gonna go see The Northman, but you have a dad or a grandpa who really likes like TV crime shows, drop him off at this movie on the way, and then you don't have to talk to him about The Northman. But yeah, I'd give it 2 stars.
2 stars for Bruce. Eric, what you got for Memory?
On the scale of Liam Neeson action movies, where taken as a 5-star movie, this is probably 4-star, 3.5, 4-star. As a regular movie, though, yeah, I think 3 stars is probably about right.
Okay, 3 stars for Eric Holmes, 3 stars for me, 2 stars for Bruce Porky. Again, this is the new Liam Neeson film. Memory comes out in theaters, exclusively in theaters, on April 29th. Might be a better version, might be a better streaming version, because like Bruce and Eric said, there's a lot of movies out this weekend, like The Northman, Everything Everywhere All at Once, etc., etc. Yeah, just a lot of great cinema. I mean, speaking of great cinema, I'm so glad that The Batman was it's going to be a sequel. Bruce, Eric, you guys excited for the Batman sequel?
I would watch Memory 2 before I watch Batman again.
You would watch Bruce? That was funny. Or maybe even true.
If it's between Memory or the Batman, watch Memory twice.
That's what I was going to say. You could just watch Memory twice and get in and still watch the end of the Batman. So there you go.
There you go.
Okay, so that's it. Our next featured film is a movie called Hatching. It comes out in theaters April 29th. It's directed by Hannah Bergholm, very talented filmmaker. It centers on Tinja, a 12-year-old gymnast who, she has a domineering mother, and her mother has a lot of a big secret going on. And Tinja is, the movie starts off, you think they're the picture-perfect family. They are far from it. There's a lot of things going on. One of the things that's going on is Tinja, the 12-year-old gymnast, the movie's called Hatching. She has an egg. She helps hatch a pretty big egg. And the egg turns into just this really interesting monster, beautiful animatronic monster that my eyes were just bulging out just looking at it. Really interesting. That monster ultimately wreaks havoc on Tinja's life and her family's life and everyone around her. And that is the premise of this movie, Hatching. I'm really high on this. Would love to hear what Eric Holmes thinks of Hatching. Was it too far out for you, or did it hit you right between the eyes in a good way?
No, it definitely wasn't too far out for me. I kind of almost wish it would have went a little further, but this movie's really good. And I don't know what we can say about it.
I think we can say a lot about it. I mean, there's a creature that comes out of the big egg.
Okay. Well, the creature then is awesome. I mentioned to you, I got like, felt like Cronenberg, Lynch, and Jim Henson all got together and just like fucked and laid a huge egg, a huge glorious egg in this. Dude, that creature is like simultaneously creepy and adorable at the same time. And beyond the creature feature aspect of it, it says does a lot about motherhood, what you're seeing in the movie, and then what the movie's really about. So I guess with the ballet and the bird stuff, you would think Black Swan would be the easiest thing to compare it to. And I guess other than the ballet, it's really not quite like Black Swan, but it kind of is.
The gym stuff. You mean the gym? You think ballet's?
Yeah, the gymnast stuff.
Yeah.
They try to get perfect. I don't know what to say about this because I don't know what's a spoiler and what's not. But needless to say, I really fucking love this movie. And as it went on, I loved it more. And I like all the characters. I like not the subplot, but the subtext to what a lot of this movie means. I love the creature effects.
Yeah.
I wasn't joking. That's fucking Jim Henson level shit. Like, looks like a baby Skeksis running around. I'm like, oh, I just want to pick it up and hug it. But another time, I'm like, get this fucking abomination away from me. Which I guess is kind of what the main character is sort of going back and forth with. The mom character was awesome.
Yeah, the mom, by the way, is an influencer. She's an influencer,
yeah.
so she has.
Her character is a piece of shit.
Yeah,
but her portrayal, the actor portraying her was really great. The characters are all really great. Who's the main actress that plays the girl?
Yeah,
and she's got dual roles in this.
Yeah, Siri Solalina. This is her first acting role. Yeah,
I heard that
that
the director took so long because she had to find the right person to play her because of the dual roles. And when you watch the movie, you'll know what she's talking about. And good on her for waiting, because I thought she nailed those as well. Yeah, I can't think of anything bad to say about this. It's weird, so if you don't like weird, you probably won't like it. But
well, you alluded to, Eric, did you want it to go a little bit weirder, a little bit crazier, a little bit bloodier, a little bit more? Was that a complaint?
It's not a critique. It's just it would have been cool if it happened, but it didn't, and I'm still fine with the weirdness that we ended up with. Who's the Teton? Why can't I think of Ducournau? Julia Ducournau. This feels like Raw, and I can't wait to see what her Teton is. The follow up to this, and I hope the follow up to Hatching. Just kind of. I could see her going to Julia Ducournau kind of path, and then just like, oh yeah, that's pretty creepy. That's pretty good. Let me show you what you did wrong, and then just go even more nuts on the next one. Or maybe she gets more reserved. I don't know, but whatever she does next, I'm here for it because I fucking love this movie.
I agree with you. Same here. I effing love it as well. Bruce Perky, your thoughts on Hatching?
I mirror a lot of what you guys said. I accept I liked it less as it went, as opposed to more as it went. I thought the first half of this movie was fantastic, and I really, really loved that we got to see the creature, that we got to see it early, and I really liked the creature, and I really liked the weirdness of what started happening with that creature. And then I will just say, as the creature started to transform, I liked it less and less and less. It got more and more uninteresting to me. It was kind of gutless at the last half, too, for me. It was bloodless. It did not go places. It pulled its punches. That's the problem for me. There was moments where I thought it should have done things, and it just didn't go as far as I thought it should. It set up a dynamic with the family that I wanted to see paid off more too. It kind of paid it off a little bit at the end, but it didn't really follow through with it. And I really liked the dynamic of the family. I liked the way the father was absolutely as passive as you can get, and how they set up how the mom was, using that and kind of going hard the other way, and then how she was kind of involving her daughter and all that was really, really interesting. And I thought it got, the second half to me was just generic. It was a little tropey for me. It was a lot of scenes that I've seen in other movies, things like going down a highway and then there's a jump scare. I'm not going to say what happens. And then they don't actually show what happens, but they just show the after effects of what happens. So I was quite disappointed with the second half of this movie compared to the first half.
That's interesting. For me, the movie got even more interesting when there's a sudden shift, which Eric kind of alludes to. It's interesting. I have a feeling that a lot of people will be split on it regarding hatching. I think some people will really take it to heart, and some people might have the same problem that Bruce had. What do you think on this, Eric, regarding the shift?
I really liked where it goes at the end. I almost compared it to something else, but that would absolutely spoil it. But I guess I can see the tropiness, but I still don't know. I liked where it goes, and I like how certain things with the certain things that
yeah, you can say.
Yeah, you can't really talk about it.
Okay, if I say too much, just cut it out.
Okay,
I just put it this way: it set up a really odd and interesting relationship with her and the creature that disappeared.
Yeah,
that relationship disappeared, and I wanted to see that relationship go forward. And what happened. And so for me, it isn't bad what it did necessarily, but what I wanted to see it where it go, it didn't go. So I was disappointed from that point on. I just wanted it to go a place that it didn't go. So I felt disappointed. It doesn't mean where it went was bad. It didn't satisfy me. That's all I'm saying.
Cool. Eric?
I really like the relationship between the girl. And again, if I say too much, just cut it out and put it wherever. I don't care. But I like the relationship with the girl and the creature. And I like how that kind of mirrors her and her mom's relationship, but also in certain ways, it's kind of her trying to learn mistakes that her mom does and try not to do that. But it's a strange circumstance because it's not human. She's basically trying to care for a monster. And so there's a metaphor, I guess, there. The ending, which we definitely can't talk about. We can't talk about, but there's
ending's amazing. Yeah.
So the relationship between the girl and the creature and how that affects the ending, I thought was really well done as well.
Really well done. But again, like Bruce was saying, that he thought the second half was toothless, and I'm assuming that you thought the ending was toothless as well, or maybe just very lukewarm in your reception of it. Both Eric and I love the ending. We love the second half. Bruce did not so much. So Bruce, what is your final rating? What's your rating on Hatching?
It was 5 stars for about 45 minutes, and then by the end, it was 3 stars.
Okay, so 3 stars for Bruce Perky. Eric Holmes, what do you give Hatching?
Same. It was 5 stars for about 45 minutes, and then it kept being 5 stars for the rest of it.
5 stars from Eric Holmes. 5-star banger from Eric Holmes. You love it so much. I actually don't like it as much as you, Eric Holmes. I only give it 4.5 stars. So 4.5 stars from me for Hatching. 5-star banger for Eric Holmes. 3 stars, mild recommend.
I'm sure we can all agree that whatever her next movie is, we're there, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So
yep.
Yeah. So interesting stuff. Oh, I hope more members of our Cinematics Facebook group give Hatching a shot. Again, hit select theaters April 28th. We might be having a bigger discussion on the creative validity of Hatching when it hits digital and VOD on May 17th. So I'm just hoping that we get more of a discussion in our Cinematics Facebook group about this movie. All right, that is it as far as our featured movies, but there's another big movie that came out last week. It's called The Northman. Both Bruce and Eric. We all know what The Northman's about. It's a revenge tale and all that stuff. Vikings and all that. Robert Eggers, is that his name? Eggers, the guy who did the Gilligan's Island movie in black and white, right?
Yep.
What was it called? What was that?
That's a way to put it.
Was it U.S. Minnow and Willem Dafoe, and it's shot in a
weird... time for gab and chatter.
It's same. It's shot in the same frame kind of situation, like The Killing of Two Lovers with that boxy thing. So he does a $90 million movie called The Northman. First off, Bruce Porky, was it worth the trip to the theaters to go see it? I'm assuming maybe you saw it with a couple of your kids, or maybe you went solo. I don't know. What did you think of The Northman?
I liked it quite a bit. I saw it with my oldest son, and he liked it pretty well too. It was one of those. It was weird. I went to the movie theater, and they made sure he was 17. They weren't going to let him in if he was 17. And after seeing the movie, it wasn't. I don't know. I don't think it was that extreme or anything. I thought it was really, really good. I sat with it a little bit, and I think I like it more the more I sit with it. This is definitely a movie that does epic, I think, right, and does it in a very interesting way. And it's kind of like, to me, people have been comparing it to what The Lion King and Hamlet. I guess Hamlet was loosely based maybe on this ancient Nordic tale that this is based on. I kind of think of it as like a really elevated Conan the Barbarian, which is already pretty good. It's an interesting, cool movie. It's really visceral. It's really visual. It's got crazy, interesting action and violence, and it's a revenge tale, of course, but it's a really interesting take on the revenge tale. And I won't really spoil anything, but the main character that we get with Skarsgård isn't the usual vengeful hero. So I guess I'll put it that way. And I appreciated that quite a bit. There's a lot to like in this movie. And I think if you want to see something that isn't another MCU movie and want to see an action movie that's different, but also still delivers the goods, I think that you should probably check this movie out. It's really good. I like it quite a bit.
Bruce, did you see any kind of compromise? I was just kidding about of Gilligan's Island. I mean, do you see any kind of compromise from the witch, the guy who did the witch in the lighthouse, or is it just part and parcel of the business? You make a $90 million movie, you need to make it a lot less maybe cerebral and as intimate as the first two.
I mean, it's a different story. This is meant to be a bigger story, right? It's a somewhat of a swashbuckling revenge tale, but it's got all of that Eggersy weirdness kind of mixed into it. So I feel like he probably compromised much of his vision here. And I think the problem you're seeing in the box office probably reflects that, in that I think your average kind of popcorn moviegoer goes and see this movie and it's a little too weird. It's a little bit too dark. They probably don't know quite who to latch onto. And I think that's what I'm kind of getting at with the heroic figure. He isn't your standard heroic figure that's really easy to get behind. And I think that's probably a problem too. So I don't think he probably diluted his vision much, but he'll tell us, I'm sure.
Eric, the Northman?
I think, now I didn't see did I see the trailer? I don't think I saw the trailer, but I think where the marketing fucked up was they should have done what they did with The Revenant. They didn't show a trailer for The Revenant. They showed like 3 minutes of The Revenant. It was like one of those one shots where it's like, holy shit, that looks awesome. There's more than a couple scenes like that in The Northman. It was like, dude, don't even show the trailer. Just before a movie starts, like, and now 2 minutes of The Northman, and then just play that. And then people would be like, I'm going to see that fucking movie.
And Eric, the scene they should have shown was a scene where they're pretending to be dogs, and it's his son and him being dogs. And they fart and they bark.
I was thinking like the Wonder pillaging scene right at the towards the beginning.
Well, yeah, that's obvious.
I mean, Ethan Hawke eating like a dog, barking at some kid.
That's fucking good.
Oh, we got to be
and Nicole Kidman.
Dude, Nicole Kidman.
Can we mention?
I mentioned about her with being the Ricardos. I was not a fan of Nicole Kidman, but between watching her in that and watching her in this, I've been fucking sleeping on her. She's fucking great. So,
yeah. And the
sorry,
thing about
Nicole
this movie,
Kidman, you're awesome. I just now found out.
The thing about this movie, and Greg, you might catch up to it at some point and see if you agree with us and see if Eric agrees with me. The thing about this movie is, like, probably through the first 3/4 of this movie, you're like, well, Nicole Kidman's in here, but she's not really doing much. She's just kind of being the queen. She doesn't do hardly anything. And then she has a scene, and I know Eric knows the scene I'm talking about, and she has a scene where she's supposed to kill it, and she fucking kills it. And you're like, holy shit, that's why she's here. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, this movie's bloody as hell. The action, people talk about how good Michael Bay is at action. He's not, but people talk about how he is good at it. Robert Eggers is great at action. The action scenes in this, and granted they're mostly wonders, but that's what action scenes are supposed to be. They're supposed to, I mean, it felt like he took a page or two out of one shot. It was like, oh, I've been watching Scott Adkins movies. I think I can do this. And he pulls it off, and he's got that kind of David Eggers kind of grit to it. And they're just fantastic anytime, and that they're not afraid to get fantastical either. And somehow, like the way they do the fantastical in this, it doesn't come off as cheesy or stupid. Like that, there's a one fight in particular that I was like, dude, this could be a He-Man movie. Like, you put a skull on the other person who's fighting. This is a He-Man movie, a badass He-Man movie. Yeah, this thing's violent as fuck. So obviously, if you don't like blood, I think the one thing this movie is missing, and you were talking about if he had to make compromises, I think the one compromise he probably had to make, I bet he wanted more dick in this. And it sounds like a joke, but did this movie not feel like it needed some floppy hangdowns from time to time? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I would say if nothing alone, and this is not a spoiler scene, the early scene where they're getting riled up to go into battle, that first Berserker scene, and they're around the fire and they're all like yelling and getting ready.
Yeah.
I could see that being totally, all those guys totally nude during that scene.
I mean, we're in 2022,
Yeah.
There's been more than a few movies that you see back in the days, you used to see the tits flopping around everywhere. But in recent years, you've started seeing more dicks flopping around. And this, it seems like a weird critique, but this almost feels like it's just, it feels like it wanted that and it's missing that. And maybe if there was any sort of compromise, my guess would be that was it. It's like, oh, we got to have Alexander Skarsgård's hang down flopping around everywhere. And then the studios are like, this is $100 million movie, or however much money the movie costs. We cannot have full frontal on Alexander Skarsgård. No one will show up to that. Meanwhile, we're like, everyone will show up to that.
Okay, so what is your final ratings? Your ratings for The Northman, guys?
I'll go 4.5. Had there been more penis, I would have went 5.
Got it.
So 4.5 with room to grow.
To grow. Nice. Nice. How about you, Bruce?
I'm exactly the same. I'm 4.5.
Both 4.5 stars from Bruce and Eric.
Also because of the lack of penis.
For the lack of penis on the Northman.
Well, that was implied.
Implied. All right, Eric, speaking of you, you have a couple of Blu-ray recommendations, special features. First off, I'm just excited to hear what you thought of Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Bruce and I were pumping the movie up after my cry down last week on Petite Maman. We told you Portrait of a Lady on Fire is going to be really amazing. Did it live up to expectations for you?
I did not like it. Oh, here it is. I have it on a DVD Criterion version. Real quick, as far as special features, there's not much on here. As far as there was a couple interviews, but not a whole lot to write home about. If you're buying the Blu-ray or the Criterion version for the special features, just know it's pretty sparse.
Okay.
As for the movie itself, this is kind of what I thought Petite Maman was gonna be. And so this kind of wasn't in my wheelhouse. But as it went on, I started getting more into the relationship of the two, and really started to care about the characters. I really like the world that I've been swimming in for about 2 hours. Overall, this didn't even come close to touching me the way that Petite Maman did. That being said, this is a really good movie, and more importantly, I think this is really good. It's a really good love story, and I think it's worth watching. And everyone listening to this is probably like, "Duh, Eric, we know we saw this movie 2 years ago." Thanks for finally catching up. But yeah, I dug this one.
Were you slightly disappointed? You said it's good, but were you slightly disappointed? Because
I wasn't disappointed, because as it was going, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is kind of what I expected, and this is not my kind of movie just in general. But it was still a good version of that movie that I don't generally like. That and Petite Maman is so good. I kind of feel like Anderson with Petite Maman. That's kind of where I'm at. It's like, this is good. I understand why people like it, and I like it too. But where I believe Anderson said Portrait of a Lady on Fire blew him away, and then Petite Maman was kind of lacking, according to him. I'm kind of the other way, where Petite Maman blew me away, and then this one felt kind of lacking, which is backwards because this one came out first. But that being said, it's not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. And if you want to watch a good love story, really sexy love story, I would check out Portrait of a Lady on Fire. But as I mentioned before, I bet everyone listening to this already did. So, hey guys, I caught up finally.
Bruce, you and I are we both Celine Sciamma fans because we both love both movies to the highest of limits as far as that goes?
I think so, and I mean, maybe I'm a little more of a sucker for that kind of thing, but I think it's probably value added for people to hear Eric say that it's still a really good movie, though, because there's a lot of people that'll be in his camp, like, I'm not going to go towards this movie because it's not for me, and to know that, like, hey, it's a quality movie, they might give it a chance. Also, just to kind of remind people that you have the same actress in this movie that we saw earlier this year in, what was it, Paris District 13, I think it was, or District, whatever number it was.
Yes.
So it's kind of interesting to see her in two really romantic movies, different roles. She's got a presence about her that I think is pretty amazing. And I can't come up with her name off the top of my head, but she's really good.
That's actually another thing I think going against this movie is I love Paris District 13 a lot. Like as far as like romance movies, good. Like that's my jam right there. And this is like, it's good. It's not Paris District 13, but it's so pretty good.
Yeah.
I hope Paris District 13 gets a lot more love when it either comes out on streaming or maybe towards the end of the year. Maybe they might have some kind of awards consideration. That's a very interesting movie, which we covered several weeks ago.
I also think it's important to, as Bruce mentioned with the Petite Maman, Celine Sciamma, she's definitely working on another level. I mean, that everything about this movie I should hate. Like I should have just Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I should have been sleeping through half of it, and I wasn't. And so the fact that she can, it's almost like she took a checklist of everything I hate in the movie. And it's like, I'm going to add all this stuff and he's still going to kind of like
it.
Yes. I'm going to, Bruce.
I was saying, I'm going to throw something out about her as a filmmaker, because we talk about like Nolan, we're just talking about Eggers. We're talking about these guys that do these really like intricate and very like driven, like obsessive movies, right? But the big complaint against them a lot of times is they're kind of soulless, or that they're kind of like the characters aren't really deep and stuff. And I think she's the exact opposite. At least for two movies I've seen, she is like she just taps straight into emotion. I think she does. And I think that's something really value added too. Whereas we talk about Ducournau, and I think she does kind of both. She gets into emotion, but also does some really interesting, weird, obsessive technical stuff. So I think it's just interesting how you can admire and appreciate filmmakers that do different things really well, and both types of movies can be equally amazing in different ways.
You know, another filmmaker who knows how to tap into emotion is The Long Walk director Matty Doe. And if you want to learn more about Matty Doe, Eric Holmes, Bruce Perky, and Movie Bears podcast co-host William Lindis they have a long conversation with Matty Doe, spanning several hours. Eric Holmes edited 5 chapters for me to get. I only have 3 chapters up on the YouTube channel, so hopefully I'll upload the next 2 installments in the coming days, but they're very, very good. Actually, I uploaded chapter 3 today, and there's some really interesting stuff on the 3rd installment, which has Matty Doe talking about a dream project regarding the Giselle ballet and a dog with powers, and it's a weird story that she has, which I hope she gets to make.
Was that supposed to be like Air Bud 17?
Yes, I can't believe you guys talked about Air Bud as well in the program. There's a brief mention of Ratatouille, her favorite movie, and then she also talks about there's some really great frank discussion on the 2 cinematographers who worked on The Long Walk. Just very candid stuff from Matty Doe. Check that out on our Deepest Dream YouTube channel, which houses a lot of the content here over at Find Your Film. So that is it. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. You have one more Blu-ray as far as a recommendation. There's a movie called The Scary of 61st. It played last December in select theaters. Eric Holmes has, is that an Arrow Video or a Yellow Veil, or what is it?
This is Vinegar Syndrome.
Vinegar Syndrome.
This one's a Blu-ray. This one has a lot more as far as the special features go. It's been a little over a month since I watched this
Well,
because I was
let me
supposed
just
to
say
cover
something.
this a while ago.
Here, okay, my bad on that because I always make Eric cover whenever he sees something. I said, "Oh, Eric, can you wait 2 months before you get that out?" This movie, it says, here's a synopsis: while out apartment hunting, college pals Noelle and Adele, or wait, what is it? Addie, actually, Noelle and Addie, they stumble upon the deal of a lifetime, a duplex in Manhattan's Upper East Side. Sounds great. They get it. They move in. The only problem is there is a sinister picture of the apartment emerges when a mysterious woman arrives and claims the property. She claims a property it used to belong to the infamous and recently deceased Jeffrey Epstein. So that is the premise of the movie. I know the director Dasha Nekrasova just based on her work on that HBO series Succession. She's very good in that. The Scary of 61st. For some reason you purchased it, Eric. Did you watch the movie first and then purchase it, or was this a blind buy for you?
No, it was a blind buy. Well, not totally a blind buy because I think we covered it on Cinematics. I don't know if it was me or Bruce, but I know that we both flagged it when before it was going to come out as something that would be interesting. And then I wasn't able to see it here. We weren't able to get screeners, and then I got the it came out on Blu-ray thanks to Vinegar Syndrome, and I picked it up immediately. And yeah, this movie is nuts. This is like definitely giallo. It's like probably like a more Inland Empire. The characters are kind of slowly going nuts as the movie goes along. Okay, so there's a character that how do I explain it? A character gets possessed because they're in Jeffrey Epstein's old apartment, and somehow they get possessed with a pedophile demon. So one of the characters basically regresses and infantilizes themselves, and you know what? Just watch it. the more I try to think about this and describe it, the less it's making sense. But it's really good, and I saw it twice, and it just keeps
Why did you see it twice? Then there's a reason why you saw it twice. What makes the movie work?
So Dasha Nekrasova is insane. And I kind of like her insanity, or at least the way it's portrayed in this movie. She's also got I guess she's got the podcast, The Red Scare. I haven't listened to much of that, but I listened to a little bit of that, and I can't remember what her co-host's name is. But as I'm listening to that, I'm like, okay, yeah, they just have a really fucked up sense of humor. And then I go and watch this again. I'm like, yep, all this tracks, and it's never dull, and has a lot of scenes where you're watching it just kind of oh god, yeah, I don't even know how to explain this movie. It's just really good, really weird, and it's my kind of weird, especially like the kind that I kind of take pause and go, I don't know what the fuck I just watched, but I kind of dug it. And
have you been able to
I explained nothing. I was talking
I
for
got
5
it. I
minutes
got
and
it.
said absolutely nothing.
I got it. What is there anything on the special features as far as the Blu-ray goes, or
yeah, there's a bunch of behind the scenes, bunch of there's a commentary track, a really good commentary track actually. Because again, she's a podcaster, so her commentary track's going to be pretty entertaining on its own. She's got kind of a different energy than Maddie though, but that same kind of don't give a fuck what I say kind of. And this movie kind of shows that. I mean, it's this movie does. Oh, there's a part where she's at the front of Jeffrey Epstein's apartment, and then they got the JE, and the girl's just like making out with the JE while like fingering herself in front of the door. Like, has nothing to do with anything in the movie, but I guess it's just part of her like becoming possessed by the pedophile demon.
Bruce, what do you think? What do you think, Bruce?
Good.
You gotta watch
Show the kids. Bring the kids. It's a family movie. It's good, it's good stuff.
It's good. Are you gonna watch the Scary of 61st? Is it?
I did watch it. I watched it right before the show.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how many movies do you watch in a week, Bruce? And your thoughts on the Scary of 60? Oh my gosh, your thoughts on this?
It was not for me, but I can see it. It has a singular vision for sure. So
that's a compliment.
But it was not for me.
That's a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was definitely not for me. I think partly because I just, sometimes you see a movie and the characters, you just don't like hanging out with any of the characters, but sometimes you can get across above that because like the story just it sucks you in enough that there's terrible characters. But for me, I hated these characters so much that I did not want to hang out with them. I will give it a little credit. There is one scene that I laughed my at the very end. I'm not gonna say what happens, but there's a scene where is Dasha the one that like is playing the character who shows up at the third character that shows up? Is that Dasha? I don't know who Dasha is.
I think she's the main character.
Anyway,
actually,
the third character who shows up.
She's third build, so
the character
she might be
third,
yeah.
Yeah, the character who shows up out of nowhere at one point towards the very end of the movie. She goes to find the boyfriend at work, and she's covered in blood. I'm not going to say how any of this happens or what exactly the case is. And that scene was out of the blue, so funny. And if the movie had leaned into that funny a little bit more, I might have enjoyed it a little more. But for me, this was not really for me. but I am definitely interested in it. It's interesting.
I will say, Greg, okay, you love Bad Luck Banging or Looney Porn, right?
I don't love it. I don't love Bad Luck Banging or Looney Porn.
You need to watch this movie.
I worship
it's
that
like
movie.
Bad Luck Banging or Looney Porn,
okay.
but stuff happens.
So
that's the main difference between the two.
Stuff
I think the main fan of this movie is Prince Andrew, though. I'm pretty sure that he loves this movie a lot.
Oh, so I do as well. But I think this might be Greg's favorite movie ever.
Okay, we'll see what I think. Maybe I'll check it out. Ratings, Bruce. Your rating on the Scary of 61st.
1 star?
1 star for Bruce Perky. Eric, I'm assuming your rating is more than 1 star because you've seen it twice. Your rating on the Scary of 61st.
I got a bright shiny quarter here that says this is going to be Bruce's or Greg's favorite movie ever made. And I'll set it right there, and you let me know if I owe you a quarter.
Sounds like a
it's on Shudder. You can watch it.
Okay,
there you go. This is a 5-star movie for me. It's just that right kind of weirdness. But I think most people would probably go. Most people would lean more towards Bruce. But was.
Can I say that I would watch this movie again with Eric and Greg and a few drinks, and
we would not be.
I would probably have a. Well, that's once again, that's a given. That's just we just go with that at the beginning. But yeah, this is something.
You know what? Our crew, that crew over at Middle Class Film Class, they should actually have some kind of watch for the Scary of 61st to see what they think.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that's a movie that Pete and his crew would like? Joseph and Tyler, right?
What do they call that? The
Eric
the Twitch thing. They're streaming
the wheel. Have them put it on the wheel. Put it on the wheel.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, but what?
Eric,
do
you have anything for them to put on the wheel?
What's the thing? Bootleg cinema. There it is.
Bootleg cinema.
I knew it'd come to me. God, my brain sucks. And then I was talking about Scary 61st, and my brain started getting possessed by. I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
Okay, so Eric is going all over the place for the Scary of 61st.
Yeah, this movie is really good. There's going to be people on my side of things with this. Not many, maybe 1, 2. I think more people are going to be on Bruce's end, but I really fucking love this. But again, bets on the table.
Bets on the table.
1 whole quarter.
1 whole quarter. He's betting a quarter.
Or Greg. That says Greg will love this movie.
Okay, we'll see what I think of the Scary of 61st. That might be a command for me to actually watch it for a rewind next week on Find Your Film. But per usual, before Peter Beta drops that beat, before Bruce Perky actually tells us what's in the box or reviews what's in the box with Eric this week, Eric has another segment that he wants to put into the show. What's this new segment that you got? You and Bruce have been in cahoots with. Tell us about this segment, Eric.
Well, this segment is a short segment.
Insert music interlude right now. Okay.
Called a short segment. This is a very short segment where we talk about shorts. Bruce actually brought both these to the table. I saw one, so just real quick. There's a movie called Bottle. It's about 5 minutes long on Vimeo. It's a pile of sand throwing a bottle out to a pile of snow, and they converse back and forth. Go check it out. It's on video. It's 5 minutes. It's really good.
Okay. You liked it, Bruce? This Vimeo Bottle. Where did you hear? Is this from a director that you love? You just found it? What is this?
These are actually both these shorts. This director of that one, by the way, is Kristen Lepore. Both of these were suggested by Daniels, because Daniels made a list of the movies that influenced him, and all of the movies were animated. So I've heard all these weird shorts, and I started watching the shorts based on what the Daniels suggested. So that's how I heard about it.
Okay, cool. So you have Bottle, which did you like it as much as Eric did? And there's another one called the Eagleman Stag. What can you tell us about these two shorts?
Yeah, Bottle is a perfect little short, and it's both funny and actually kind of heart wrenching, I guess you'd say at the end. It's beautiful, and you can really see why Daniels might love it because it has kind of that creativity plus some heart in it. Also by Kristen Lepore, a little added bonus. She has about a 2-minute short called Hi Stranger, which just starts out with this little figure laying on his stomach with his butt exposed. It starts out with something like, "Hi stranger, it's okay to look at my butt. Go ahead and look." And then it keeps talking from there. It's very fun too. That's a great one. But the Eagleman Stag is a 9-minute short, also suggested by Daniels. You can get it on Vimeo or YouTube, directed by Michael Please. Please watch this short. The Eagleman Stag is really cool and really way more mind-bending, and I can once again see why they would like it. And it starts out with this kind of montage. It's all it looks like it's all done with white folded paper in these really intricate settings and figures and people and everything. And it starts with this little baby fetus. And the fetus looks at you, and you hear a grown-up British voice saying hello, and he starts talking about his life. And then it's all about how, when you're really small, your experiences are the entire world, and how you get older, the time and your experiences are compressed, and you don't appreciate them as much, and how you might go back to appreciate them. And the Eagleman Stag, he's a taxonomist, I think is what they call it, where they name different creatures, and he finds a stag beetle, and his name is Eagleman, and he calls it the Eagleman Stag. And that Eagleman Stag has a very special property which involves memory and time. It's very cool.
That sounds depressing. Is it a depressing watch, or is it
an
inspiring watch? Oh, okay.
It's like a weird epic short in 9 minutes. It's like a
short
life in 9 minutes.
That's the thing. It's a short. Just watch it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Just
How
short,
is it? It's 5 minutes. Watch it.
It's a short segment. Okay, so the short segment covered was Bottle, which is 5 minutes, and the Eagleman Stag, which Bruce also highly recommends. Eagleman Stag, an epic life story in 9 minutes, should be interesting. And before we go on to what's in the box,
real quick.
Oh, yes.
And that was a short segment. Okay, go.
What music should we insert for the short segment segue? Bruce, what do you think? What jazz hands?
I think
country?
we need to find no. I think we need to find some clip of Martin Short from what was the movie where he is plays a little kid?
Oh, Clifford.
Yeah, we need to find out something from Clifford.
Okay,
You're just like
a short
segment.
Yeah, Martin Short, what a talented person. And you know what? I was trying to actually think of something clever regarding Pete and dropping the beat. Bruce, in your dry wit, is there anything you can come up with as far as Pete and the drums and the segment and all that stuff? Is there any way you can save me with your rapier wit?
I'm just thinking in the version of the Northman we have, when they are ready to battle, they would drop that beat.
Who's in the box? Oh, what's in the box? You lie! No! What's in the fucking box?
That was very good, Bruce. Very good. And again, thank you, Pete, for basically being our music band leader every single week here on Find Your Film. Now, what's in the box? There's a box that it's a movie that it's a moniker that actually shielded me away from actually watching this movie. Bruce, what is the movie you got for us that you and Eric actually got to see?
Well, I think Eric had talked about this way back in the movie Mainline days when we were talking about Hammer movies. Although I don't know if this is actually considered a full-on Hammer movie, but it might be like Hammer adjacent. Either way, it's called Blood on Satan's Claw. And this was recently, this recently came up in that epic, nearly 4-hour documentary on folk horror that I was watching. And this is considered one of the holy trinity of folk horror movies, with the other two being Witchfinder General with Vincent Price.
Lose the Flower of Evil.
And Lose the Flower of Evil. No, and The Wicker Man. The original Wicker Man.
That one's good too.
So And this one is one that's been, I've seen it floating around forever and I never got around to watching it. I was like, okay, I'll put it in the box and it might show up. And it did. 1971, directed by Piers Haggard. I believed I watched it on Tubi. You can watch it a lot of places. You can find it. It's pretty easy to find. The basic concept is the beginning of the movie is it's like, old England or whatever. And this dude's out pushing the plow, the kind of plow that literally you push behind a horse. And it digs up this creepy head, skull kind of thing, like this giant creepy skull. And he's like, oh my God. And he freaks out and he goes to get somebody to show him because it looks like it's a creature or something. And the head of the master of the town or whatever comes out and they can't find anything. And then strange things start happening and the kids in the town start getting weird. And is it a cult? What is it? What's happening? And there's a claw and there's all kinds of stuff. It's okay. I'd like to see what Eric thinks too. This didn't hit me as much as those other two movies that I mentioned. I feel like this has some great ideas, but the execution definitely is a bit dated. There's a lot of fur in this Satan, and I don't think of Satan as being very furry, but apparently this one is. And he looks kind of like a gorilla costume with a claw. Yeah, it's kind of like Children of the Corn meets the witchy times. It has its moments, but it definitely wasn't, for me, it wasn't super great.
Bruce, does this have an audience though? You said it wasn't super great for you, but do you see people taking to this film?
Yeah, a lot of people really love this movie. And I like movies from this era of this type. I like those gothic Hammer type of movies, but this one I think for me, it was just kind of the creature and the story just didn't have enough like style and oomph for me. It was a little bit all over the place, so it didn't quite work for me. And I was reading about it, that the trivia, and I guess the trivia was they originally planned on it being 3 separate stories, like a little trilogy of stories that all revolved around finding this creature in the ground. And I kind of see that because it feels a little muddled to me. And I think maybe that's kind of why I didn't respond to it as much as I might have if it had been a singular story that seemed unified. But I don't know. I think Greg was kind of somewhat, or Eric, I think you were kind of somewhat mixed on it, weren't you?
I remember liking it, but so now that I'm thinking of it, maybe we didn't cover it because I know we did a bunch of Hammers. A bunch of Hammer movies, and I think I'd have to go back and listen. I wonder if maybe this is one that I saw while we were watching those, and maybe I didn't cover that. But also this is kind of was there a scene where they have like a big feast and there's like a poor person coming in and they're fucking with them, or am I thinking of a different one? Okay,
nope.
Shit, I don't know which one this is. So was this one?
If you remember anything,
is this one kind of like
a lot of kids.
So this wasn't a werewolf movie.
Nope.
You know what?
This one, the main thing in this movie is there's a girl.
This one.
There's a main girl in town, and she kind of becomes the ringleader of a bunch of kids. That's why I said it kind of has.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the thing. We watched like a bunch of Hammer horror movies like a couple years ago for the movie Mainline, and all those movies are jumbling around. I was like, well, what about the part with the werewolf up in the bell tower? Was that
Nope.
That wasn't this one? All right. I don't know, but well, yeah, I just have to watch this one again. I remember liking it when I watched it, but I can kind of like that now that you say the kids, I get like a idea of like a cart with like some, were they like imprisoning children in the cart or something?
Eric, you're sounding like Liam Neeson in memory right now.
Yeah.
We should call this Broken Brain the episode.
This is a memory skit. Oh, look, Eric, is it yours or Liam's pills on the floor? We got to pick them up for you.
I do believe I've seen blood on Satan's claw, but I do not remember what it's about.
Well, okay, how about this? Let's tie them together. Bruce Berkey, memory or the blood on Satan's claw? One of our fellow cinephiles out there in the ether, they have a choice. They can either have one or the other. Which one?
You're going to have more fun with blood on Satan's claw than memory, that's for sure.
Okay. Now, it disappointed you. What was your rating on the blood on Satan's claw?
I'm right in the middle. I'd probably be 2.5. It's not up to par for me for that era of movies. I would go watch something. Just skip this and go watch Witchfinder General, or even better, go watch The Abominable Dr. Phibes.
Oh, definitely that. I remember that
very,
one.
very, very good. Okay, so that's the Blood on Satan's Claw. One, you know, it's gonna be Eric
Hold on,
is
I'm looking
now
at pictures.
obsessed. Eric is now obsessed with finding out if he actually saw
Oh.
the Blood on Satan's Claw. He's gonna have nightmares about this.
Okay.
He's
No, it had the
yes,
thing.
yes,
The naked chase
Yeah,
in the middle
yeah.
of the... Okay. Okay.
right, yes.
Yeah.
Eric, you got it. Did
Are you sure this isn't the one with the they didn't have a cart full of children in prison?
Not the one I saw.
What the fuck movie?
That
was
sounds like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Bruce, is this the one where Liam Neeson he plays a killer but he won't kill kids? And
All right, there's this scene that I remember. What
Okay.
was
there's a scene, podcast listeners, there's a person in the top hat. He looks
And-
like
but-
a married,
but
he looks like a married
like,
gentleman.
if
Yes,
the camera
Eric,
turns around, there's a cart there, or
There's a
something
cart.
there.
there is some kind of cart that Eric Holmes is actually trying to. He is so obsessed with the cart right now. Wow.
Guys,
Let's see, there's some
we're not stopping
horses.
the episode until I fucking remember this goddamn.
Well, you know what? So, you know what? Let's just change "Find Your Film" to "Find Your Cart." Bruce, in your years in this world,
son of a
do
bitch.
you have a favorite cart? What was it made of, and how does it make you feel? I can't think of a really
I
good-
like the cart from the original Planet of the Apes. They had a good cart in that one for sure.
very
So,
very good. I can't
Is there
think of
like
any
a
carts.
cart of dogs in the Curse of the Wolf, maybe?
Yeah, possibly. I think there's a cart. Yes,
That's gonna
there's
bug the shit out of me. All fucking. I remember the scene. I remember there was something in the cart, and then there was a girl that's like, "No, you can't." Blah blah blah. Like and then
Bruce, who picked the Blood on Satan's Claw? Was that something you just put in the box, just to put in the box?
it was just something I put in the box.
How dare you?
I guess
Don't
it was
ever-
my own fault.
don't
It's my
ever-
fault. I caused all of this. I'm so sorry.
You know what you have to put in. You know what? Actually, have our buddy Grant Boston, Eric Holmes, have him make you a cart from his work mail it to Bruce, and have Bruce put it in the box. Speaking of the box, Bruce,
that's just it though. I don't want a cart. I want to remember what movie that cart scene was.
Yeah, this-
it's
But
burned in
what
my
if
head.
what if it's even worse? What if he's right about all this stuff and I'm just telling him it's not in the movie? That would be
Oh, you
really
son of a
evil, right?
bitch! I bet you did that.
Eric Holmes' lack of a memory right now is like a Christopher Nolan movie that Bruce Perky obviously does not want to see because he's not a fan of Tenet. Shake that box, Bruce. Shake that box. What do you got? What's in the box?
Greg? There was a fucking cart
Stop
in the movie.
Stop treating me as an object. Tell me to shake my box.
Tell us what's in the box.
I'm looking at all these pictures from the Blood on Satan's Claw. They look pretty interesting. I might actually just check that out as well. Who knows? You know what? I'm not going to do it.
Oh, Angie Clark. We haven't had anything from Angie Clark for forever.
Yeah, our buddy Angie
I'm going to watch
Clark.
a movie that I should have. I should have seen this movie forever ago. I never saw Easy A from 2010.
Okay,
Oh, that's a good
Easy A.
one. Is that the
Starring,
one with the cart of like children?
Emma Stone's
There's
on
a
a
cart
cart?
of children, yes.
Stone's
It's
like,
an-
get the children out of the cart. They're gonna die.
Eric Holmes is banned.
Emma
from-
Stone's them. Yes.
Yeah, very good, very funny. Eric Holmes is banned from. Oh, you know what? You're not banned from Final Thoughts. Can you give us a final thought from you, Eric Holmes? A cartless thought from you.
Yes. I guess we'll be having merch soon, and if you want it, you can click on it, and if not, that's fine. But I did come up with an idea for a T-shirt. It says, never mind. It's a cart movie. Something about
What's
something
in
about
the
a cart.
cart?
And some,
I think with the podcast
just be
it
a
said.
T-shirt that says, "What's that movie? Something about a cart and some dogs."
Or, folks, go to our Find Your Film merch site. We are actually going to start selling carts as well. Carts will be part of our merch line as well. It'll have that Find Your Film logo emblazoned on the side.
Yeah, you just click on the hoodie, and it goes up into your cart, and then
Yeah, and then you can have a real cart. You can have a wooden cart. You can have a metal cart. And if you're an MCU fan like our buddy Anderson Cowan, we're gonna make you a cart out of adamantium. So we're all good. We're all good. Bruce Perky, final
order a
thoughts.
carton of eggs.
That's that
All right,
joke.
I'm gonna rein this for a final thought. Let's just say in the director's cut of The Northman, where Robert Eggers is actually allowed to show the true majesty of The Northman, it will need a cart to keep something from dragging on the ground.
Okay, final thoughts. We will see you next week here on Find Your Film. Again, sorry folks, no more cart mentions for the rest of our existence. See you guys.